So we've been able to remove our ball actor when it goes off screen. Let's do the same thing with the peg actors. When the ball goes off screen, we'll remove each of these pegs that have gotten lit up. First things first, we probably want to record the fact that a peg has been lit up when it's been hit. And so how are we going to do that? Well, let's open up our peg actor. And we have a hit by ball function. This seems like the best place to do something. But what we're probably going to want to do is let our main Puggle class know that this peg has been lit up. When we do that, the Puggle class can maybe store in an array the list of pegs that have been lit up. And then once the ball actor moves off screen, we can remove those lit up pegs. And how do we let the Puggle class know that something's happened? We'll create another custom event. So I'm going to add a new event that is going to be a peg event. And again, for now, I think we're only going to have one type of peg event, and that will be, let's call it peg lit up. And within our peg actor, we will dispatch a new peg event. So far, so good. Let's go back to our main Puggle class. And what I am going to do is, within my create level function, at this point when we create a new peg actor, I'm going to add an event listener to this. We're going to listen for a peg event, peg lit up. And when we get one of those, we will handle peg lit up. We'll generate a peg event handler where we can deal with this. And actually, I'm going to just move this function so that it's somewhere close to our handle ball off screen, just so as disorganized as this file might be, at least I've got my two event listeners close to each other. Now probably what I'm going to want to do here is record the fact that the peg has been lit, so I can remove it later. So what I'm going to do is, let's jump back to the top of our file, and underneath our all actors and our actors to remove, I'm going to add another array that is going to be, we'll call it pegs lit up. And jumping down to our handle peg lit up, basically I'm going to record our peg actor. That is going to be our current target. Again, maybe at this point it would be good to remove the event listener. And then I'm going to add it to my list of pegs that are lit up. Now, I suppose if you really want to be safe here, we could check and make sure this actor isn't already in our pegs lit up array. Although we do a pretty good job of making sure this peg lit up event only gets called once, and there comes a point at which you start to wonder how many times do you have to double check things. But hey, better safe than sorry. So now we've got our pegs lit up array that has recorded all of the pegs that have been hit by this ball since we launched it. The next thing to do is, when the ball is off screen, let's go through this array and remove all of those pegs. So we'll remove the pegs that have been lit up at this point. And probably the easiest way of doing that is we'll go we'll look at each peg to remove. and we can safely remove the actor. And once we're all done with that, we should make sure to empty out the pegs lit up array. And that should basically do it. So let's review what we did here. We've created a peg event called peg lit up that is going to be dispatched by the peg actor whenever it gets hit by a ball. Over in our Puggle application, we are now listening for these peg lit up events, and when we detect one has happened, we take that peg actor and add it to our pegs lit up array. And then when our ball is moved off screen, not only do we remove the ball, but we go through each peg in our pegs lit up array and we remove that as well. So you'll notice I'm not doing any of the fancy kind of staggered fading out and disappearing effects that you would see in the actual Peggle game. If we have time at the end of all these lessons and you're not totally bored of my voice, maybe we'll go through that. But for tutorial purposes, I think this should work pretty good for now. So at this point, I think we are ready to run it. Let's see if it works. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, so far so good. Nothing's crashing. It's always a good sign. And look at that. Our pegs are gone. Not bad. So let's see, what should we do next here? So I guess next we will just implement a very quick and dirty way of launching another ball. I think we're probably going to need that for testing purposes. And then let's get to the next big part of these tutorials. We figured out how to use the actor class. We figured out how to use contact listeners. We figured out how to remove actors. It's time to implement that bonus shoot that goes back and forth at the bottom of a Peggle game. This will incorporate two important concepts. One is the idea of sensors, and the other is the idea of moving a shape around in our Box2D world to get it to do what we want. So we'll start looking at that over the next few lessons. Try not to get too excited.